Okay, call the meeting to order. Any items from the public? Honorable Delegate Kump.
Thank you. It's good to be back.
It's good to have you back.
Well, it's nice to be had. Now I lost my train of thought.
Oh, okay. On to the next item.
Thanks, Jim. Two items, actually. One, as you've probably already gotten some of the news on this, the legislature did pass a bill changing the name of the Berkeley County Council to the Berkeley County Commission. I don't know whether the governor signed that or not, but maybe that's not a big issue, but it's been one that's been a thorn in my side and everybody else's for quite a while. Also, the governor has not set a date on this yet, but he has announced there's going to be a special session regarding correctional officer salaries. I am
Just
trying,
correctional officers?
whenever the governor sets a special session, he sets the agenda for that. So it has to, any discussion on what he sets the agenda has to be germane to that specific bill. For instance, we can't bring in something like farm prices or things of that nature. However, I have made suggestions to the leadership and the governor that the special session on correctional officer salaries be expanded to at least include correctional employees and not just correctional officers, because there's more than correctional officers involved. I've also asked that, and I hope that this will be germane, that some discussion can be made about the funding, the funding for regional jails. It's long been my contention that regional jails are, and the employees of the regional jails are actually state employees, which they are, and therefore the state should be funding them. They should be taken off the counties back because it's not funded liability. But we'll see what happens when the special session is set, probably within the next month.
Well, anyone that's been incarcerated is usually under state charges. There's no county ordinances that anybody's held out there for.
Exactly.
They're appear before state magistrates and judges in the court system, and it's all state. And
the
for
employees
county,
are state employees.
and the employees are state employees, and why the county is left with that burden, it's still remarkable to me that we've let it happen. So.
Yeah, Berkeley County's done really well with daycare. Or
Day report.
they report. I don't know why I say day. Well, in a way. No.
Well, it's a, yeah.
But
Daycare is us, but go ahead.
yeah. But anyway, absolutely so. And we just have to, like anything else, persistence has got to count. Thank you.
We'll do it if you want.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Anyone else? Okay. If there's no one else, then can I have a motion to approve the agenda if there's no modifications or changes?
I motion to approve the agenda.
Have a motion to have a second?
Second.
Any discussion or comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed, motion carries. Purchase order law. Any questions for Tracy? Anybody have? It's starting to get long again, Tracy. So that means we're doing stuff, right? No comments, alrighty. Internal budget revisions. Mr. Davis.
Yes, sir, I have.
Welcome back.
Thank you very much. Good to be back.
Good to have you back.
I have one internal budget revision request for the council's consideration submitted by the Honorable Sheriff Harmon for Department 404, which is the tax department. Sheriff Harmon's requesting that he be allowed to decrease line 220, advertising and publication, by $360. Current unencumbered fund balance is $1,000 with nothing spent to date. And increase line 341, supplies and materials, by $360. That line item currently has a deficit balance of $359.18. And that's it.
That's it?
Yes, sir.
Very good. Okay, changes in status. We have a new hire recommendation received from Tim Zaya, Director of Community Corrections, for the following. Lisa Valentine as a part-time driver with an hourly rate of $17.82 an hour, effective March the 20th, 2023. Arika Reiner, is that pronounce that right?
Yes.
How about that? As a Joe Tip case manager with an annual salary of $50,676, effective April the 17th, 2023. Change in status received from the Honorable Larry Hess, assessor, for Curtis Trineri. He is going from an appraiser to chief deputy. His salary will go from $73,267 to $77,267, effective March 31st, 2023. Change in status received from Jennifer Swisher, Director of 911, for Sabrina Hess. She is receiving a pay increase for years of service. She will go from $65,609 to $66,921 effective March the 20th, 2023. And a letter of resignation received from engineering for Jim Golden effective March 31st, 2023. Approval of the minutes. Everyone was present. And the, I'm sorry.
I have a correction, Mr. President.
Yes, sir.
I've already discussed this with Penny, and I assume she corrected it. I don't know how, but she did. Under Will Lawrence and the fiduciary supervisor, I not only made the motion, but I seconded it.
Well, you did
I was
pretty
right
good.
on the job. let me
Yeah.
tell you. So,
And that's a problem, Jim? What's that a problem for you? You're doing all the line shift?
yeah, I'm doing everything.
Yeah. Okay.
We'll try to relieve some of that burden off of you today, all right?
What, the only motion we want you to make is the adjournment.
Yeah,
How's that?
I'll
Is that
do
okay? Alrighty, let's see, council calendars for March. We're here today on the 16th. And coming up on the 20th, we have a health board at 4 p.m. 5:30, we have Main Street Martinsburg, 6 p.m. Planning Commission. On the 21st, WR&R, our own council person, H.D. Boyd, will be there. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Good deal. Okay. And 11:30 Parks and Rec, 12 p.m. Region 9, 5 p.m. Sewer District, and 6 p.m. Stormwater.
Busy day.
Yes, it is. We have a CVB that was canceled at 1, 3 p.m. Senior Services, and on the 23rd at 5 p.m. Library Board, 5 p.m. Ambulance Authority. Any question?
I'll be going the 23rd through the 30th.
23rd through the 30th.
I'm missing all that stuff.
Lucky you or lucky us? I'm not
Will all
sure.
the council members be here next week other than Mr. Barker?
Yes.
Just a reminder, you do have two public hearings next week.
Okay.
One scheduled at 11 a.m. and the second one scheduled at 6 p.m. It's the public hearings for the non-residential ambulance service fees.
Okay.
We will have that next week.
Sounds good.
The ambulance authority moved the board meeting up from 5 to 4:30, so they'd be finished in time for the public hearing.
Okay.
That day, so.
But I did announce that, didn't I?
Yeah. It'll be
4:30, okay. That'll be the change then on the 23rd. Okay, good enough.
So what time is that public hearing?
6.
The first one's at 11 a.m. in the morning and 6 p.m. in the evening.
I have library board. I just didn't know if I needed to go there and come here, but that's at 5. I'll probably be out of there and be back.
Yep, be good. Alrighty, board and commission calendar. I definitely went through that. Bond release for rocks on Route 9 West, file number 16-04, tied to file number 2301-0016 and file number 2301-017. Bond number 10010-46482, Engineering Department recommendation. And a bond reduction for Dillon Farm final plat tied to, file 027-19 tied to file number 2012-371. And then a file number, I guess that's a file number, okay. 2212-368 and 2212-370. Bond number CIC 190875, recommendation from the engineering department. A bond reduction for Southbrook, Section 1, Phase 2, final plat, file number 2210-311, tied to file number 2110-387. Bond number 0798316, the engineering department's recommendation. And number 10, bond reduction for Nadenbush Pines, Phase 2, lots 26 through 45 and 61 through 67. Final plat, file number 43-04, tied to file number 2009-243 and file number 2211-339. Letter of credit Number is 8056277 and at the engineering department's recommendation. Any questions for Doug while he's here? We're good to go. Thank you, Doug. And a declaration of surplus property, county clerk's office. What do I have here? Two empty cases, two metal adding machines, and one metal typewriter.
Two empty cases. Was it?
Just storage cases.
Storage cases.
I think they call them bird cages.
Oh, those were ancient and
Yeah.
scrap.
So the current clerk is
Moving them out.
purging a lot of the old equipment. What's worth keeping, we're keeping. Everything else we're disposing of.
Alrighty, I need a motion to approve the declaration of surplus.
I move to approve the consent agenda.
Uh,
Or do you want to do the one on the surplus first? Or just the consent agenda?
Part of the consent agenda,
Yeah.
okay.
I'll second.
Well, wait a minute.
What's the motion?
I move to approve the consent agenda.
Okay. And have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Alrighty, any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed, motion carries. And then we have the Honorable Mr. Hess with 6 personal property tax exonerations.
Yes, sir. Good morning. Yeah, we had to correct 6 this past week, and for the reasons that's listed there. But, they're all personal property exonerations, office error, and they total up to $1,070.53.
Alrighty,
Mr. President, I move to accept the 6 office error personal property tax exonerations in the amount of 1070.53.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Alrighty, any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed, motion carries. Thank you, sir.
Just another quick update on the 2 that we have at the Office of Tax Appeals. 30 days was up yesterday on the first one, the extra thing. And they didn't respond to us, didn't call, so I guess we'll get something from them to get
Finalize it.
done, yeah. And the other one, we have a conference call coming up too. They haven't responded either, so I think both of them just get that way.
Alrighty.
Okay.
Well, with a little luck, maybe they will.
Yep.
Alright, thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Alright, board and meeting reports, Mr. Boyd.
Well, I had a couple meetings. Met with I have a hard time saying this word.
Consortium.
There you go. Yeah. I was in that meeting on Monday, and there were a couple new members, myself, another, and then the mayor just joined, but he was at the meeting as well. And it seems there's a lot of money, more than they've ever had, but a problem getting rid of it because our median household cost to the maximum allowed income and the difference to qualify for a loan. So basically, there's no houses affordable enough to purchase by how much you make to be able to assist. So
Criteria is getting a little bit more difficult to meet then.
yes, almost impossible to meet. There's no houses in the
In that market range.
market range. And so we talked about that. They talked about some ways to possibly come up with other avenues to use the money. They're hoping that the HUD numbers get changed maybe in April. I believe they said maybe April is when those might change. That might make some adjustments for Berkeley County to make it a little more, crunch it a little closer to make it work. Other than that, there's really no affordable housing available in the market right now. And it seems to be the trend across the United States, but the thing is, if they don't use it, they lose it on this money. So it's a little scramble to try to get things working. But
I wonder if that money would be available if the market would allow it to come back to us, or once it's gone, I guess.
I'm a little uncertain on that, but it sounded like you have so long to use these monies, and then you have to release them, I guess. But they've gotten a lot of money back because people have sold their houses within 5 years, and if they sell your house within 5 years, you have to at the close of that sale, you have to give that money back, the assistance that you got.
Okay.
So with all those houses going way up, a lot of people sold and did something different and whatnot, and they had to return that money. So they saw a big influx of money coming back into the account because of that happening. So the way this house market has gone, it's really put a wrench in some things. But they have some ideas. There's house maintenance type deals where like needing HVACs and some other things and ways to qualify for that. So they're looking at some of those programs with Telemon. So all in all, it was a crash course on my first meeting there. You know.
They use so many acronyms.
Oh, it
You
was.
know, I don't know what the hell they're doing.
This was a stack of papers from the one meeting, but they said normally it means a little quicker. But there was some of us knew, and there was some issues that are going on. But you know, one goal was to try to help find some more ways to get affordable housing. And I did reference a gentleman to them that I know who owns a chunk of property, kind of off in the Bunker Hill area, and he was looking. He's going to contact her to see if there's a way he could put something together out there to put homes that would be assistable.
Okay.
So, because I asked him if he was near any big neighborhoods or anything like that, and he said, no, not really. So maybe they could do something there.
Very good.
Tiny homes or something in that idea. So,
Very good.
then we had the Roundhouse Foundation Board on Tuesday. We met. We're looking to get and do a couple big fundraisers a year. We talked about that. And then we're still working. I have a meeting tomorrow at 11 with Andy and the mayor and Ms. Numstead about the entrance there at the Roundhouse, exchanging some land with the city and getting that fence pulled back and getting that one-way turned around. And that would make a turnaround area there in front. But there's some differences in prices and plans that have to be changed in a hurry because they're finishing that. So I don't know how that'll go. We'll meet with them tomorrow. We'll see how that works out.
Very good.
That's about it.
That's it. Mr. Barnhart.
Well, thank you, Mr. President. I had a Public Service Water District meeting on Monday. They finally had the design plans approved. Something called Willow Glen, which is 177 townhomes off of Route 51. Another warehouse at the Cumbo Yard, 109,200 square feet. Of course, spec. And then Boyd's Crossing, Section 3, which is right there next to Bunker Hill Water. They reviewed and approved the proposed rate adjustments to be published prior to public hearings for volumetric changes, capacity improvement fees, and miscellaneous fees. The first reading will be held Monday, and it's a 5-step rate increase.
That will come to us for the final approval.
Yeah.
There's a status. They gave a status update for the design of the Bunker Hill Water Plant, and reviewed and approved task order number 3 for $448,000. And let's see, there's a I don't know where it was. I think they've approved 800 water meters for this year. This is from July 1. 800 and
New services.
yeah. 808, I think. Of course, I can't. Yeah, 808. 64 meters in February, bringing the yearly total to 808. And they've had the survey performed to obtain an acre of land around the location previously approved by FAA for in the industrial zone tank, which is around Tabor Station somewhere. And they're looking at upgrading the Liberty tank there on the edge of the county.
I was told some of those tanks, whenever they lease spots out to cell towers,
Yeah.
that they weld
Oh,
brackets on the tanks, And when that heat penetrates to the inside of the tank, it's creating a corrosive issue. And they have to go back in and clean all the tanks
Yeah.
and service them and keep the corrosion from happening. So that was something that was going on. I don't think it's in that tank. I just heard that about certain ones that's taking place.
Yeah. There was presently no plans for replace the tank there at Hedgesville on Ridge Road. And that tank really needs to be replaced. It's too small, it's not high
It's too
enough.
small and it's not high enough.
Yeah. But that's.
I heard they
that'll do
purchased
it.
property to place it on the new one.
And then we had me and Steve had an Eastern Panhandle Metropolitan Planning Organization meeting. It was all information. There was no voting or anything. But I'll let Steve discuss it. But there was an interesting thing that they gave us
The rendering?
a sketch of the new transit authority facilities there on the corner of Race and Raleigh. And quite involved, and the lane says, no, that's accurate.
Mhm.
So they've got the money for the administration building and the transfer station right now. So they're still negotiating for money for the garage. And that's gonna be,
Okay. Water tower, I wonder if they would ever think about putting it on the west side of Route 11 or Route 81 on Tabor Station. And then I would provide water for that service area over there.
well, now they gonna put it wherever they're gonna put it.
I know, but that would be beneficial because there's a higher spot over
Yeah.
there on the west side
Well,
of
they
81.
probably will put one where they're going to and then put one on the other side.
It would need them sooner or later.
Yeah.
Mr. Catlett?
Follow up on the MPO meeting yesterday. I asked with the Transit Authority's new facility if the intersection there at Raleigh Street and Race Street would continue to be that four-way stop like it is. And they said the plans now is to remain like that and not put a light in at this point. But some other updates is like the Meadow Lane out where Meadow Lane Plaza is located, the little strip there between Eagle School Road and Route 11. There's going to be a stoplight installed there. Probably,
3 projects for
Yeah.
that little strip of road.
they say it, I don't know how you do a mini roundabout, but
I don't know
on
what that
Eagle
is.
School Road, there's going to be a mini roundabout there. I'm not sure how that's going to work, but a stoplight on 11 and then some work on the Winchester and Western tracks there as well. But, another project, and most people probably don't even know there's a bridge there, but there's a bridge on Route 9 in front of Hedgesville High School. That little stream that goes through there. And,
Tullis's branch. It's going.
yeah, and it's going to be replaced. And we just asked that the police can try to do it in the summer when school's out, because can you imagine
Oh, no.
a single lane traffic on 9 during school days would be,
Is that before or after
Pretty
the
difficult.
lower entrance to the school?
it's after,
After.
right there
Yeah.
where the lower entrance is,
Yeah.
and then that little stream's
Stream.
right there. So that's going to be a mess. So hopefully they'll do it during the summer. They are going to also put a turn lane in even though the town of Hedgesville is opposed to it. They have plans to put a turn lane in on Route 9 driving east to make the turn on 901. The truth is they put a left turn signal in there about a year or so ago, and it has worked really well. And coming through there this morning, I got through in about 5 minutes. In the old days before the turn lane, it would take 10 to 12. So it has worked, but they insist they need to put a turn lane there as well. So we'll see how that goes. Jim and I talked to Matt Mullinex before the meeting. We got there early because it's kind of hard to talk during the meeting. It's all business, and there's people there represented from Washington County and other places, so not to bore them. But the point is, from our meeting in Charleston, when Eddie and I were down there and met with the DOT, we met with 5 people. We haven't gotten a response back from our meeting. The one gentleman that was in that meeting is Brian Carr, who also attends the MPO meetings by Zoom, and he didn't even mention anything about our meeting in Charleston. But the point is, the impression that we got is we have to lean on the MPO to get any projects done in Berkeley County if we're gonna get them, and if they don't recommend those projects, then we have little chance of ever succeeding in getting anything other than minor projects like we have discussed. So it's also interesting, in that MPO meeting on Zoom was Chris Strobel, who's Senator Capito's representative here, and Keith McIntosh, who's Senator Manchin's representative in this area. And so I called both of them yesterday after the meeting and talked to them about a variety of things, particularly for support of the appropriations request we have made to them this year again. And hopefully we can follow up with some information directly to them, and they offered their support in our request. And also mention to them about the training center that is hoped to be built here in Berkeley County, out at James Rumsey at some point, if we can identify some funding. And they seem quite interested in that as well. So we'll continue to push that. I am also serving on a workforce 7 region 7 committee. It actually meets next Thursday during our meeting. So I told them I'd have to be here so that but Jim's going to be going for sure, and particularly since we have a public hearing. So I'm going to miss that first meeting with them. But I think it's more important, obviously, to be here on that next Thursday. So, but that's all that I have. So thank you.
All righty, very good. I had a couple meetings that I attended. One was the Eastern West Virginia Regional Airport. There was a discussion of the 2018 strategic plan, and it was going over and how much of it has been implemented and what they're proposing to do with the next 5 years. The funding that we have given the airport authority has been well used. I can show you our budget reports over the last few years, where the budget was 200 and some thousand about 10 years ago, and now we're over almost 3 million. So the commercial charter rate has been going up. It was off a little bit because the plane was out of service for their annual inspection. The flying, or the fuel sales for Jet A was well up for this month. They had a few corporates that came in, and they do require quite a heavy drink of Jet A every once in a while. And then there was a discussion about some funding that they want to get a feasibility study done for whether making Martinsburg a reliever or for a cargo hub, whether it be out of Dulles or Baltimore or Washington, if it would be feasible to do that here. So they're was trying to find some funding, and then I think it's like a $40,000 grant that they're looking for. That being said, then there was a discussion about maybe trying to get in with our 2 senators face to face. So I need to get a hold of with Keith McIntosh and Chris Strobel to see if we can't set up a meeting with both of our senators out there with the airport authority to let them know how they can do some of their promotions to make Martinsburg the reliever of a freight hub, which was a pretty lengthy discussion about that. So, and then of course this morning Eddie and I, we had a meeting with the chief magistrate, Mr. Bill Norris, and just kind of discussing how things are being handled over there, and they are very thankful for the staff of the court marshals and the excellent work that they do. And he couldn't have said more praises to that staff and all the transport. So they're very thankful for their commitment to their jobs. And of course, we're probably on slate for one more magistrate. We could probably use 4 at the current rate, but we're looking to get 1. So
we have room for it?
well,
We're gonna have to do some
renovations.
renovations, maybe some realignment of schedules.
Yeah, that's always the big kicker is, we fund something with our tax dollars from the county for sort of a state office, and the receipts that we get from the state's only $75,000. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
So that doesn't even pay the light bill.
The final plans, the construction plans for the Crawford building, they're pretty much complete. Before we can move forward, with the continuation of those plans, I'd say they're probably about 60%. We have to have a blessing from Supreme Court in Charleston, and that was submitted to them well over a month ago, and we have not heard anything back.
Well, I tell you, something needs to happen because those windows in that building are getting ready to fall out.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's,
They're pretty rotten.
And then once we get their approval, then this council needs to decide whether you want to move forward or not. That's a big ticket. I mean, that's
14
probably-
to 16.
Yeah, I mean, we figured $400 a square foot for the David Court Center addition, which is well over what it should be. So yeah, you're probably talking 16, maybe 18 million if you use 400 square foot. It's a big ticket item.
Yeah.
Could we do that in phases?
To be honest with you, I don't know. We'd have to look at it.
Yeah, it'd be nice if we could.
Is that looking to have to be done?
Yesterday.
Sooner rather than later.
You know, Steve, I agree if we could do it in phases, but even though how they're working it here in this building, I don't know how the magistrates would serve with extra noise if one of their courts was in session. So unlike you, I think, to drop that check all at once
Yeah.
wouldn't be as easy as if we could phase it in.
Well, that would increase your debt load probably by more than another 50%.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And Larry, back to the jail fees and all that, I mean, that's a good argument to relieve us of jail fees, is the fact that our judicial center budget is $3 million plus a year, and we get $75,000 back from the state of West Virginia to provide a $3 million facility with security and all that, utilities, the whole work. So that's a great argument in terms of releasing us from jail fees.
And that's all that I have. I got to sneeze here. Right now, we have a reappointment packet received from James G. Moffitt for the Civil Service Commission. His term expires May 1st, 2023. Do we need a motion for that to reappoint? Or can I have a motion for that?
Mr. President, I move to reappoint James G. Moffitt to the Civil Service Commission for another term, whatever it is.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Alrighty. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed, motion carries. And now we come to the best part of the day. We have the honorary council person. And today you're lucky to get me, so we'll get you to come on up here. This is your time to shine.
Keep talking. I've got something in my
We're going to come on up here to the center here. We're going to get real pretty pictures here. I don't know about their makeup. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to swear you in as an honorary council person, and then you're going to turn around and let everybody know what your plans are, what's going on in your school, and all those good things. So just turn to me and raise your right hand and state your name. I,
Charles Gordon.
do swear or affirm, repeat after me,
Do swear
that I will uphold the Constitution
that I will uphold the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of West Virginia,
and the Constitution of the State of West Virginia,
that I will work hard
that I will work hard
to fulfill the responsibilities
to fulfill
responsibilities
responsibilities
of the office
of the office
of honorary council person
of honorary council person,
to which I have been appointed.
to which I have been appointed.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Thank you very much. And let this fine audience know what your plans are.
Take this paper off the back.
Let them know what you're doing in school, and we'll get a picture here pretty soon. And their audience is they're captive, so they're not going anywhere. Just let them know what what your classes are. You have any
Just basic.
basic classes? All right. Have any college plans? Or are you thinking? Not yet? Okay. Still got time. When you get old like us, you gotta start thinking a little bit faster because our time's running out. This is just starting.
Probably engineering.
Engineering, very good.
Time's running out.
Now, if you have anything you want to interject, if something that we're talking about kind of triggers your interest, please feel free to let us know what you're thinking.
Yes, sir.
All righty? And we'll take a break here and get some pictures pretty soon.
Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you very much. Oh, how about, let's see. Is 10:15 is, oh, we've got to change the clock, Penny.
I know.
I just looked up there, man, we're real
I
early.
was like, oops.
We have a board and commission interview with John Sullivan, a candidate for Convention and Visitors Bureau. Is John here? Come on up, John. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what your plans and what you think about Berkeley County and the CVB.
Okay. Well, good morning, gentlemen. Name's John Sullivan, preferably Johnny.
Okay.
So I recently learned of an opening on the CVB through a mutual friend, and I had some involvement with its former director back in 2014 and 2015, who was Laura Glasser. I've been involved in film production for over 20 years. Always was a resident of Martinsburg, because I always held a property here. I did spend 8 years living in Santa Monica, working as a stunt performer. Then went back to Charlottesville, where I had attended college originally and produced with the company Darkstone Entertainment. And so leading up to that, 2018, I really pulled out a film to come back home full time and take care of my mother, which led to COVID. And so I thought I was going to leave film, but then this came up. And so with the West Virginia bringing its tax incentive back and knowing that the CVB was formerly involved in that through Laura Glasser, she did a lot with locations for incoming productions at the time. But aside from film, it's also a very neat opportunity because I'm very interested in the economic growth of Berkeley County, since this will be my home. And let's see, what else is there? So, yeah, and it's just a really good opportunity to really know what's going on in the county as far as festivals, parades, but really just a chance to get involved with the renewal of the film tax credit and do what I can to help promote that and bring more into Berkeley County as it was. Because I worked on many of the Stephen David productions when they were here.
Okay. We'll probably ask you a few questions, Mr. Boyd.
How are you doing? I know you pretty well, man. I think the bringing the film industry back to Berkeley County is quite important. And there's several steps to do that. I did meet with the state when I was down in Charleston a couple weeks ago. They've moved. They currently don't have a film office anymore for the tax credits. They've moved it to the Economic Development Office, and they're new to the whole thing. They know a little bit, but not a whole lot. But I think it's critical to Berkeley County and the CVB to get that back here. It brought a lot of money to the county, and I think you bring a lot to the table with that. Your history of Berkeley County, you follow Berkeley County a lot, right? Your mom and different things. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
For sure. When we first moved here, I was 7 years old. We moved from North Dakota. And then Mom primarily stayed at home, but throughout the entire time we were here, because she had been a teacher in North Dakota, she was a substitute teacher in the Berkeley County school system all the time, the entire time through my sister and I worked through high school. And so, yeah, we've always, again, like I said, even the 8 years I spent in Santa Monica, I'm still a resident of Berkeley County, West Virginia, because I've owned a property here since I was 7, because the first house my parents bought in this town, they put in mine and my sister's name. So, again, my mom was a teacher here for roughly, from 1982 to 1996. Then once we were out of high school, Mom kicked back and got a different job, but she wanted to be not full-time employed while my sister and I were growing up. I'm a collector of many Berkeley County artifacts. I do attend auctions. I like to be a buyer in the film industry. Recently, I've picked up many of the Berkeley County 200th anniversary plates and teacups and casks, and definitely have extensively traveled in Berkeley County to its historical sites. Spent a lot of time at the river, but it's really, really nice county. I know several of the people involved in local agriculture. Burkharts, the Butlers, and a lot of those people had children that HDN I went to high school with.
Mr. Barnhart.
I imagine there's a story about your transfer from North Dakota to West Virginia, but um, you know, the CVB, gets involved in a lot of things, and I'm sure you're aware of that. And you appear to be a good fit. Is there anything other than the film industry? Is there anything that you really are interested in the CVB getting into?
Well, I know that the CVB already does a lot of other things.
Yeah.
Where I would come with, where I would have more of a career background would be in the film industry. Because I've produced films that have been distributed nationally on DVD at Walmart. So I've fostered the film all the way from conception through distribution. So that I would, for a little diversity on the CVB, I could bring that. But as far as what it does in promoting tourism and economic development, I'm very interested in that and would, be happy to be involved in anything.
Yeah, because I can see that you could get involved in producing documentaries or film to involve the CVB and Berkeley County for distribution to schools and other places.
Yes, well, I mean, I don't know if the CVB was there, but we just recently had an opportunity a couple of weeks ago. If we had a nice slideshow or a demo reel that for the county that could play at exhibit space. We just had the International Water Festival in Morgan County a few weeks ago, and a lot of people. A friend of mine, Rick Watson, who represents the Morgan Arts Council, and also has a film background, taught at NYU Tisch, so we're connected through film here in the Panhandle. But he was telling me about the opportunities there for promotion, that a lot of people come in from all across the country and international travel for that, because it's a global festival. So these people traveling in there, you don't come from Italy to Morgan County, West Virginia for a weekend. So they will travel. Of course, DC is a major spot for people that travel foreignly, but should the CVB be there with an exhibit space promoting Berkeley County, that would have been a great opportunity to draw tourism into Berkeley County, which I would imagine that would qualify under the visitors portion.
Thank you.
Mr. Cottley?
I don't have any questions. We just appreciate the fact that you're willing to serve, and I'm sure that you're given great consideration for that.
Thank you.
I don't have any questions either. We don't usually make the appointments today. We have other candidates that we've interviewed, and so we'll kind of review and see what we're going to choose and pick from. But again, thank you for coming in to give back to your county, and we really appreciate your interest and especially the enthusiasm you have in the film industry. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to take a quick break, but I see the Honorable Tony Petrucci was here. Does he have anything he wants to come and say to us before we break? No? All right. We're going to take a break and get some pictures here. Okay, we're back in session, and next on the agenda is Deputy Legal Director Jeff Mosey, order for purchase and installation of LED lighting.
Good morning.
Good morning.
This is very similar to an order that the council entered last month. I'm just going to read the title into the record first, and then I'll explain it in simpler terms. This is NRA, the purchase and installation of LED lighting in buildings leased or owned by the County Council in Berkeley County, located at 380 West South Street, 510 South Raleigh Street, 724 South Queen Street, and 802 Emmett Roush Drive, all in Martinsburg, West Virginia, for the use by the County Council of Berkeley County. It's authorizing the execution and delivery of a lease agreement between the Berkeley County Building Commission as lessor and the County Council of Berkeley County, West Virginia as lessee, and a bond purchase agreement among the County Council, said Building Commission, and the underwriter for the lease revenue bonds to be issued by the Building Commission to finance said purchase and installation of LED lighting, and authorizing other necessary actions in connection with the above. So what this order would actually do is first, it approves the issuance of another round of bonds that are referred to as Series 2023B that are not to exceed $3,200,000. This one is specifically geared towards the lighting, LED lighting. You may remember the last one, there was mention of LED lighting, but also it could be used for renovation of this building. And so I think it ended up deciding that that would be a better use of that one. We're doing this one for the lighting specifically. So then it also authorizes the council to enter into the lease with the building authority, which is already on its 9th or 10th iteration, just to add in the new bond payments as part of the rent. And it authorizes the president to execute the lease and to execute the bond purchase agreement. It approves the designation of these bonds as qualified tax exempt obligations for IRS purposes. And it authorizes the president, the county clerk, and other officers of the council to execute any other documents necessary to complete this bond issue.
Okay. You've heard the description of the purchase and installation of LED lighting. Is there a motion to approve? I guess given the council president the authority to sign any and all documents needed for this?
And if the council will recall, we're well into that project.
Yes.
And we paid, we're keeping it separate as a separate cost center. We're well into the installation of the LED lighting. This is to reimburse the general fund for that expense. And you've already authorized the issuance of the 2023 A bonds, which is for the completion of this building, and the 2023 bonds, which is the reimbursement for the LED lighting.
Yep.
How much energy do we want to save on this LED?
Return on investment should be, they're saying 7 years, we're saying 5 years.
Really?
Yes, sir.
Pretty good. Well, Gary talked about that fact last week, where they only have to run it like 28% capacity or something.
Right, they don't even run it on the 100% rating that they come with. Their thing is based on if you got them on full capacity all the time. So am I wrong?
And this LED lighting will automatically adjust itself.
Right.
For example, my office doesn't get any morning sunlight, so the lights will be on full capacity. But as the sun comes around and more light comes in the windows, the lights will automatically reduce and use less energy.
Right, it's not even counting the heating that it, doesn't do, that the air conditioning or the heating system has to pick up.
Correct. And we don't have to worry about our facilities department keeping a wide variety of ballast and tubes, and all that will go away.
Well, I can attest to the LED lightings in my building. It went from 135 a month down to about 45 a month.
Really?
In electric, yeah. Because I had the high bay.
And that's running at full blast.
Yep, sure is. Yeah. I had those high bay metal halides. Never again.
Mr. President, I move to accept the order of the purchase and installation of the LED lighting in buildings leased or owned by the County Council of Berkeley County,
And given the,
and giving you the authority to sign.
I second that.
all righty, any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed, motion carries.
Thank you.
All right. And next
Thank
we,
you, Jeff.
I'm sorry, next we have Tracy Gilliams, Grants Administrator, West Virginia Fiscal Year 23 COSAP Grant. Good morning.
This is to apply for the fiscal year 23 West Virginia Comprehensive Opioid Stimulant and Substance Abuse Program grant. The funding is through the West Virginia Justice and Community Services for the Berkeley County Day Report Center. The duration is 12 months. We are requesting $129,405 with a match of $59,688. While a match isn't required, it was highly suggested. Background: the Comprehensive Opioid Stimulant and Substance Abuse Program, oftenly called COSAP, was developed as part of the Comprehensive Addiction and Recovery Act legislation. COSAP's purpose is to provide financial and technical assistance to states, units of local government, and Indian tribal governments to develop, implement, and expand comprehensive efforts to identify, respond to, treat, and support those impacted by illicit opioid stimulants and other drug abuse. Program abstract: it is the mission of the Berkeley County Day Report Center to provide a viable, cost-effective alternative to incarceration for appropriate offenders. In partnership with law enforcement, the judiciary, government agencies, and community resources, the Berkeley Day Report Center will reduce criminal recidivism rates by providing participants with the opportunity to learn about his or her behavior, acquire needed skills to address problematic issues, and develop life tools to ensure long-term success while enhancing community safety. The West Virginia COSAP program will provide funding for 3 peer recovery coaches as a part of evidence-based treatment intervention and support to clients who are Berkeley County residents and have substance use disorder. By providing peer recovery coaches, clients will have the weekly support needed to be a successful graduate of the Day Report Center through individual peer coaching sessions and group peer coaching meetings. This is the second year we're applying for this grant. We got it last year, but they only provided for 1 peer coach. The grant funding we're applying for to pay for the following: 3 full-time peer recovery coaches for 12 months. They're all current positions. The salary per peer recovery coach is $43,135, equaling $129,405, with the match of the fringe for each peer recovery coach at $19,896, equaling $59,688.
Does us providing the match increase the possibility of getting the grant?
Yes,
And these recovery coaches are currently employed,
correct,
so this just continues the program.
correct.
Okay. Do we have a motion to approve the COSAP grant funding? Is that right?
Yes, sir.
I make that motion to approve this grant.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, Legal Director, Mr. Delegetti.
Okay.
Stormwater Ordinance.
Stormwater ordinance, everybody's favorite topic.
Yes, it is.
So, if you recall, a couple weeks ago, went ahead and moved forward. We're working on getting an application to be co-permittees with the Berkeley County Public Service Stormwater District to operate our MS4 here in Berkeley County. The ordinance, the changes from the old ordinance are mainly it clarifies the responsibilities of the county council, the Berkeley County Engineering and Planning Department, for processing construction site plans, and for the stormwater district doing the enforcement side of things, inspections. That's what's the other large change is that it's taking away some more some of the more burdensome requirements. It's removing everything on the west side of the mountain from the water quality requirements, meaning the strict water quality, meaning it put in all these measures, storm ponds, et cetera. If you're doing a large project, west of the mountain that won't apply. It's only everything that feeds into the urbanized area, so pretty much everything that goes into that. What that entails.
East side and west side?
East and west. So before, anytime there was the creation of 5,000 square feet or more of impervious area, that triggered the requirement that you get an engineered site plan and all of that. But ran into a lot of problems where some projects are going above that 5,000 square feet, but they're on huge lots, so it doesn't really have much of an impact on sediment or any sort of runoff leaving the site. So what we have to do is have it at least an acre. So if you create an acre of disturbance or create an acre of impervious, trigger the water quality. But if it's lower, if it's above 5,000 square feet, but not more than 40% of the total area of the property that person owns the project, then you won't have to go through this whole process. So if somebody owns 10 acres, they want to put a barn outside, and that would make them go up to 6,000 square feet of impervious on their whole property. They're not going to have to do until they get to the whole acre. But the ordinance before was not clear in a lot of ways. It was drafted before the stormwater district even existed. But this really sets forth what the responsibilities of each entity are. Now, the process going forward is it's not up for adoption today. We're not just bringing it here. It is what it is. We have to set it for public hearing. We have to publish notice of the public hearing. And my thoughts were that we want to have it done before or have it effective at the end of the fiscal year. Because the other conversation that needs to be had then is any changes to the fee structure, which aren't in the ordinance, but I think there needs to be more communication with the stormwater district. What revenues they're bringing in, what they're going to need, and creating a fee structure on top of that.
We have to have public hearings for that as well, right?
I don't.
We usually do.
I'd have to check to see if there's a requirement, but I don't see why we.
It would be,
And on this, the public hearing is what, next Thursday?
No, next Thursday is the ambulance
Oh, the
fee
ambulance, okay.
the commercial side.
for non-residential.
Oh, yeah, all right.
We typically, if the council decides to move forward, it'll be about 30 days out, so we're looking at probably mid-April. That gives us time to get it publicized. We'll do a class 1 legal ad, and then gives the public adequate time to provide written comments if they so choose.
Okay.
So we would probably schedule this for mid-April, mid to late April, and then that still gives you two months to discuss it and decide on if any changes in it and then effective July 1st if you so choose.
Anthony, when we had our meeting with the our stormwater staff and our staff, there seemed to be a situation where, when neither side, they don't agree, then who has final say? Is that going to be resolved through the MOU probably? Somebody's got to make the
The
decision.
MOU, yes, but the ordinances as well. I mean, they're not doing any. The stormwater district is not going to be determining whether there is a need for stormwater or approving that stormwater plan. They will take an approved plan and go inspect it if it's not in compliance, or if they don't have sediment erosion control at a site that work. They'll enforce that. So I mean, there might be, certainly there'll be disagreements about things. Every site specific, but
Well, then if it's along a tributary of water, then the DEP gets involved as well.
yeah, the DEP's got a role, but it's broader, not boots on the ground role. It's not
Okay.
So this has the blessing of the stormwater, the county stormwater, people.
Their attorney, I don't know if the board has said, hey, we would like you to approve this. I don't think they've taken it up.
Curtis Keller's back
But-
there. So.
Yeah.
He certainly will.
I was gonna call you out, Curtis, but, I was only at the last minute, so,
So, I guess,
yeah, go ahead.
I mean, I think that the district is in agreement with the ordinance. I mean, I think that where we had disagreements before was if the stormwater district was going to be the only permittee, the county was going to be a co-permittee. But I think since that situation has been resolved, then the way the ordinance is written makes sense to
It
us.
fits that now with
Yes.
the co-permittee situation.
Yes. That was the big thing when we were going back and forth before with how the duties were split. Permit required one thing, the stormwater ordinance was saying something else, but since that's been resolved, I think we're in good shape.
Has DEP looked at this or anything? Do you know? Or
They, so the DEP and EPA, we sent it to them. They won't, you can't get answers out of it saying, oh yes, this is great, this is bad. And we've had an informal, this kind of conversation about it. And I think they're okay that our application as co-permittees will be fine, rejection of this ordinance. But until they go through their process and submit that application permit, they're not gonna tell you.
and how
Yes.
is that application going? Is it?
We've been back and forth, and that their attorney's done the legwork on that. I don't know when that actually files.
I had a conversation with Richard yesterday, and I guess got comments back. I think he's trying to get it in final form by the end of this week, and then it'll come back, and then I guess it'll be put on the council agenda for council to approve. I think is what was originally.
Does the updated stormwater ordinance have to be an attachment to?
No, it
Okay,
does
there,
not.
okay.
The purpose-
So we don't have to rush, the council doesn't have to rush to get this done before the permit application can be submitted.
No, sir.
Okay.
No, sir.
No, but you'll want them to say the same
Right.
thing.
Right. But if we're looking at mid-April before we can even have the public hearing, we don't want to delay the permit submission.
Yeah, correct. If everybody approves that, then we can get that submitted, and that ball can be rolling.
Oh, okay.
Very good.
Yeah, I didn't know how this fit into that.
And that process might take a while, even while we're still.
Yeah, you may finish the ordinance process before we have the permit back.
And that's okay.
And that's okay.
Yeah. Does the stormwater board have to have a public hearing as well, in addition to what the county's doing or not?
No, sir.
No, it's just, okay.
It's the county's ordinance.
It's our ordinance, so, okay.
Okay.
But the other thing, there does need to be some discussion, sharing information on the fee. There's been some discussion about changing it to not just be a flat fee for every lot.
With the permit, through the permit process, not the ordinance, correct?
Well, this,
No, he's
it
talking
would
about
be,
the,
so, it's not in the ordinance, but you would have to come before the council to approve it.
Any change in the fee structure?
Yeah.
Yes, that's,
Yeah.
yeah, that's correct.
But as this is being changed, it's something that needs to be kind of discussed and kind of understand where it's going to be.
But that's separate from this
That's
ordinance.
separate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but what Anthony's getting at, I think is it'd be nice to have it all in place by July 1 together, the new fee structure along with the new ordinance.
Well, it would be nice because under this, you're taking out that half the side of the mountain that people wouldn't be paying.
Mhm.
The permit, the ordinance itself doesn't necessarily.
Well,
But if you're not requiring
we
them
haven't
to follow
changed
the
the fee,
ordinance,
but I
then-
mean,
yeah.
it'll take the council to change the fee. I think it should happen at about.
At the same time.
So we need to sit down and have meetings about the fee structure. Stormwater.
Yeah, we'll schedule that as
Yeah.
a separate workshop. We'll bring a whole district.
Where is the line where that stops? Top of the mountain?
So it's just all the
North
way
Mountain,
Down the top of the
mountain, and except for the town of Hedgesville, all of it has to be.
Does the mountain-
everything west of Back Creek, at Back Creek, yeah.
Okay. Any other questions?
There's nothing that you need to vote on today.
Right.
This is just
Informational.
Going forward, we're going to set it for a hearing next.
So is it consensus of the council to move forward and start
Yes.
putting together a
Absolutely.
hearing schedule?
Yeah. Yep.
The only thing I asked, could I have a hard copy of this ordinance?
Sure, we'll make sure all the council gets it.
I've got,
Because I sometimes like to mark it up. I can't mark it.
You can? Sure, I'll show you how.
There's a little highlighter thing here.
Got, even got a white out here you can put on the screen there, Jim.
I'll get that.
Thank you.
thank you,
All
Curtis. I do want to get ready to see on the fee stuff.
Sure, yes, sir.
I'll stop by one day, hopefully, maybe tomorrow, if that's all right.
Thank you, Mr. Keller.
Yes, sir.
You're
Thank
welcome
you.
here anytime you want to come see us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next up is Alan Davis, County Administrator, adoption of the fiscal 23-24 budget.
In your packet is the proposed official budget document for fiscal year 23-24 that reflects all of this council's work that's been done since January 12th of this year. As you know, for the past 2 months or so, you've met with every agency or department that submitted a budget request. You had at least one budget workshop as a group. Gary walked you through revenue projections, and then you discussed, after making some adjustments to the revenue projections, the expenditures, the proposed expenditures for 23-24, which you reviewed with elected officials and department heads last week. This is actually the 18th budget that I've been involved with since being with the county, and I am proud to say that it is a very, very conservative budget that provides a wide range of services. Every elected official and department head that I've talked to over the past week has indicated that they're very, very pleased that the council did consider their request and are appreciative of the funding that you've provided. As you know, that this current or this proposed budget for 23-24 does roll back the levy rate again from 1381, which is the current levy rate, to 1339. Just so you know, as that rollback occurs, the cost of the rollback is $837,460. So almost $850,000 is what the rollback has cost us. So as we move forward,
We're talking in terms of $500,000.
yeah, with the revenue raise, I actually had time to run the numbers yesterday. So that's it to the dollar, 837,460. This budget is in the amount of $50,366. Those revenues, $28,478,956 represents property and related taxes, which is about 56.84% of your total revenues. And that kind of demonstrates the shift in your revenue stream. 5 years ago, property taxes and related taxes provided about 65% of your total budget. So we're less and less reliant on property taxes, and as you know, we've renegotiated franchise fees, property transfer taxes. The legislation has been very favorable in providing that extra property transfer tax. Wine and liquor tax continues to be strong. Gaming revenues, and the list goes on and on, as well as the many federal and state grants that have been generated by our grants department. So I think it's a good budget. I think it's again, very, very conservative budget. I'm more than confident that you will meet your revenue projections for next year. So if there's no questions, respectfully requesting that you approve the levy estimate, which is the official budget document for next year, and we'll submit it to the state auditor's office tomorrow for review and approval.
When's this thing due in the state auditors?
March 28th.
I make a motion to approve the budget for the next fiscal year.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Alan.
Good budget.
Yes, I agree.
Appreciate your hard work on
Transfer
it.
tax is gonna even get better thanks to the
Yeah.
state, so.
And we have nothing for executive session today.
Nothing at all. Good deal. All righty.
Well, that sounds like a plan.
That
Still no
sounds,
news.
it sounds like it's your turn, Jim.
Well, you got to executive.
Oh, do we have any items from the public? Okay. Mr. Keefe, what can we do for you?
Well, I have been going to the stormwater management meetings,
Mm-hmm.
and 3 people is not enough for a good enough people to run it. You need at least 5, because if those 3 people cannot get together anytime, because the conflict of interest and stuff like that come up. So I suggest that any board, it has a minimum of 5.
We will take a look at it. I don't know if the ordinance is written in such a way that there's only 3, but we'll look into it.
Well, I go through all of them, because I know there's other boards that have just 3 people. And to make it fair for people to get together and things, it needs to be 5.
Okay. Thank you very much. Any other items from the public? You good, Tammy? Okay.
Mr. President, I move to recess.
We are in recess. Thank you.